I think this is better here. I think so. Bang, yeah, sure. Look, my mic works here, so we'll start off with here. Anyways, though obviously the full screen camera doesn't work perfectly. But anyways, hey guys, what's up? IrishEmerald here. Welcome to another and our last Pokemon live stream. It's been a minute since we've done this. Unfortunately, I couldn't record a lot of this because that was always the plan. Was that I would get to the Draft League World Cup, I would record a ton of this, and this would be like my swan song and whatever. But unfortunately, needs like life, shit happens, and I wasn't able to actually record it. So hence the decision to we'll just play through, stream it. We would actually go through everything. Not obviously ideal. It's going to be a different type of presentation, but it is what it is. Anyways, you guys in the chat, thank you so much for coming out to the stream. Aquarius, thank you so much. Master J, thank you so much. I'm really constantly going back and forth with this, on the stream. I don't have it up on the screen, but fuck, it'll be fine. Bookman, how are you getting on? I'm going to miss you, King, says Aquarius. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all your help since I came back in playing Pokemon. Green, especially early, won't be missing this. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Bookman, thank you so much for coming out too. Like, this stream, guys, it's just going to be me chilling for maybe a couple of hours. We go through how the World Cup went. I'll be talking through what went well, what didn't go well. I haven't actually went and looked back at these games. Traditionally, I would have done when I was like making my way to the World Cup, but kind of when I got here between life and whatever, I kind of just was like, look, I don't really have the time to really dedicate to this. If I can't really record it, let alone prep for it accordingly against really high-end players, it's going to be difficult. So a lot of this is going to be like my first time reaction watching this. I know that's obviously not as good as like the real-time reaction of when I make a mistake or when I've made a play, but at least you could see what the story is there, and you can obviously give me your critiques as to how it goes down and what have you. Anyways, it was 9 weeks for the regular season. The top 8 made playoffs. I'll be kind of trying to guide you through everything that goes on. We'll have a breakdown of like a team matchup like this screen every time we like go into it, and then I'll go into the replay. And that's kind of the plan, I think, that we're going to be going with this. So hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully it works out. And of course, look, I'll be taking any kind of random questions you guys may have on stream. If you have a random question for me about like everything I've done with Pokemon or just in life in general, just shoot, because like, fuck it, when's the next time you're going to ask? When's the next time you're going to ask? So we're going to do that. I'm going to be sipping on my tea, we're going to be chilling, and we'll dive right into it. So I'll quickly talk through the team we have here, right? I did a draft recap. That's it. That is up on YouTube. That goes into a lot more detail as to the team we have. But you can see it on the screen here. I didn't make any changes. The deadline was week 4 in the World Cup, and I feel like you kind of need 6 weeks really to really know what's going on with the team. Like 4 weeks into a 9-week season is just not long enough. But alas, I'm not here to give out or critique. I could, but we're not going to do it. Anyways, I got Mega Glade, Kyurem, Greninja, Nidoqueen, Azumarill, Moltres, Bronzong, Gourgeist, Komala, Lycanroc, Midnight, and Emolga. Pumpkin, how are you doing? It seems like all my friends wants to retire for some reason. We get old, man. We get old. We get more life comes in. You gotta check out other newer people like Aquarius. That's who you gotta do. But like us older people are like, oh, we ain't making money off this, and we gotta get a career. You can't change perfection. I like that, man. I'm going to say you can't chance or change. I'm going to say change. I'm going to assume you meant change. Anyways, all right. So our opponent brought Mega Scizor, Tapu Fini, Infernape, Crocodile, Staraptor, T-Serena, Slowbro, Druddigon, Froslass, Regirock, and Pikachu. Couple of major threats here on his team. The Infernape can do like pretty much everything. Now it is my favorite Pokemon, so I kind of know everything it can do, but that doesn't mean it's any less terrifying. The fact that it can do anything and everything. It can set up rocks, it can be suicide, it can be special, it can be physical. It's got priority, so Greninja isn't a reliable revenge killer. So big threat. Staraptor absolutely runs over my team with its dual stab, other than Bronzong, and even then Choice Banded close combat doesn't really do too much. So between Staraptor, a bit of a problem for me. I have to kind of be very careful with how I deal with that. Mega Scizor dictates me actually having to bring fire coverage, but I do have Moltres for it, but it does kind of mean I'm forced to bring that, or bring some sort of fire coverage. So there's a couple of threats here, but we should be fine. It's not only old people too. I don't know why people are maybe they're just getting burned out, man. I don't know if other people are not getting burnt out for or not playing anymore for another reason. Let me change this camera down so that you guys can actually see a little bit more of me. There we go, perfect. Right, so that's the team matchup. Let me move over here to the actual battle itself. I actually have this one pre-ready to go, but it's not going to be like this for the rest of the stream, guys. This is the best production you're going to get now. After that, it's going to be like me jumping back and forth and what have you. Anyways, he decided to bring Drudigon, Scizor, Tapu Fini, T-Serena, Crocodile, and Frostlass. Big surprise to me that he did not bring the Staraptor. That was huge to me. I was like, why did he not bring that? That was a major problem for me. So kind of a bit of a nuisance, but it was a nuisance that I had to prep for that, but glad that not to see it. When I kind of look at the team, I was relatively happy. I was like thinking, okay, we were in a kind of good enough space here. Can I actually show you what I brought? Oh, I didn't set up a scene to show you what I bought. Would I set up something quick here? Hold on. No, we won't do that. No, we won't do that. We won't. Like, we won't. I'll be able to show you. Like, can I hover over him? No, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. You guys, we'll be fine. I could talk through. I roughly talk through everything off camera at this side. There we go. I bought SD Glade, physical defense motors with some attack investment, with mystical fire, so we can catch the Tapu Fini coming in and reduce the scald attacks. That was pretty slick. I brought I don't want to kind of spoil it, Azumarill, but it's a Spadef Azumarill. I brought a pretty bulky Bronzong in order to kind of deal with the Staraptor a little bit. I bought Fizdef Nidoqueen with some Spadef and a little bit of special attack to kind of deal with the T-Serena, a couple of other bits and pieces. And Infernape. Infernape was the big one there for the Nidoqueen. I'm actually remembering all this, I'm surprised. And Greninja to revenge kill most of his team. That's what we were dealing with. It seems like a lot of people that made my early YT retiring this year, which I only would have found this channel earlier. Just look, man, there's other newer people out there. You know, for every one of us that retire, there's a new person that comes in. So I would go with that. That's how I would do it. Right. Let's dive on in. We'll start off on slow pace, and if we need to pick it up, which we do, that's way too slow. We go with normal. And we could talk through what's going on. Cadigan, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the stream. He immediately switched out his Scizor there, fearing the fire type attack, but I just went straight for it. We went taunt on the Frostlass to prevent Drudigon going for the rocks, and we brought in the Greninja. So that play took me a minute there, I won't lie, on turn 3, because I was very worried, do I want to bring Greninja here and have it take a hit? Because Frostlass was something I didn't overly prepare for, because I didn't think it was something that would really come against me. I was really predicting, I was kind of expecting the Staraptor, so we had to take the hit there from Frostlass, which is kind of scary, but it is what it is. He brings in a Tapu Fini, and I just set up my layer spikes. Really happy with that, because that's a really big part of my playstyle and my offense. He brings in the T-Serena, as I switched in Azumarill for the Scald from the Tapu Fini, as we get Moltres in, and he removes the spikes. Really annoying that we didn't quite get the... hi, I don't have the sound on. Oh, thanks Hayden for coming out anyways. But we appreciate it. So what's this about retiring? Yeah, man, I always wanted to retire at the World Cup, so this is our retirement. We're going through what happened at the World Cup, and then we're retiring. I did kind of recently resigned back into my Nintendo account, but on my second Switch because I broke my first Switch. Damn, how did you break a Switch? But yeah, unfortunately we didn't get the Flame Body Burn here. Now, we're not going to labor on that too much, but we didn't get the Flame Body Burn, which would have been nice. Anyways, we move on. He brings in his Tapu Fini, and we just U-turn out. That was kind of the safest play. I'll bring in my Azumarill because I didn't want to... For me, at that point, Fini's not low enough, but I'm able to kind of get rid of his leftovers, and that means I can constantly start chipping down at this Tapu Fini. He brings in his Scizor now, knowing that Toxic is definitely a viable play, and I'll go for it, but he predicts that. Great read by our opponent. I made my Moltres because this is like the hardest answer I can get for Scizor, and unfortunately, again, no Flame Body Burn. It is what it is. I go for a Roost just to keep myself healthy because, you know, I definitely want to be able to be a full health dealing with the Scizor. and I come back in and I bring in my Azumarill on this Druddigon. Druddigon's here now, so a little bit unfortunate. He does get his rocks off. That was something I've been trying to prevent, but he's kind of starting to get the momentum back into this game after me having it earlier. So very unfortunate, but it is what it is. Scissor's back in here. He's going to go right back into Frostlass as I go for Protect, just trying to suss out what that Scizor was going to do to me. He goes for a T-Bow, which was very scary because I was looking at bringing Greninja there, and that would have wiped us out. I knocked out his Choice Specs, so that's really, really helpful. That was super scary, that turn there, where he goes for the Thunderbolt. Because in my mind, I totally forgotten he gets that coverage. And I was thinking, we're going to Greninja, I eat another Ice type attack or a Ghost type attack, I could scare this thing out, and we should be fine. But luckily, the Spadef, on Azumarill meant that I can, deal with it. By hitting it on my iPad in 2019, how did the iPad survive that? I sad to see some content creators that watch not do content anymore. You still stream? I don't have sound on. Yes, I'm still streaming. Yeah, yes, I'm still streaming. Yeah, I don't know how you managed to drop it on your iPad, but okay, so we're back here. Happy days. We managed to actually read that fairly okay. We do just go for the Protect. I'm looking to try and just get a little bit of recovery back because I still need this thing for the Tapu Fini, who's only on 96% here, so not great. I go for the knockoff. I'm happy enough here. I'm just happy enough just to get a little bit more recovery. I bring back in Moltres. I know this is a huge hit for me, which sucks. But there's not more I could have done there. I go for my Roost, and I do get all my recovery back. I decide here to go for a U-turn because I knew the Crocodile might not have something for me. So we said we gamble. We got the Flame Body Burn there, and that Crocodile is essentially nerfed for the rest of the game, which is great. I do go into my Gallade and I go for my SD. He does get scared with that and decides to go into his Druddigon. And he gets the rough skin damage off on me. And we managed to lose pretty much 24% of my health. In comes Frostlass again. He goes for the Shadow Ball. I did know from there I could tank that. And I got rid of the Frostlass. Now, that play is kind of a little bit questionable, right? Some of you might be thinking, why would I gamble taking that hit? When it wasn't really worth it. Let me just make sure the music's back okay. And we're back okay. There we go. Perfect. The reason why I kind of went for that knockoff there, going for the kill and taking that much damage, was simply because I was very worried about Frostlass constantly chipping my team because I was pivoting around it too much. It was a speed tie here because I knew he wasn't scarfed, and I knew he wasn't sashed. So there was a 50-50 chance I'd speed it, I'd kill it, and then I'm still at 70%. Otherwise, I'm not constantly worried about switching Greninja or Azumarill here. And the fact that I know that he's got T-Bolt now, that constantly keeps me a little bit worried about what this Frostlass is going to do. So I figured, let's just get rid of this thing. I still have my Azumarill for the Tapu Fini. I still have the Moltres healthy enough to come in on the Scizor at least once. With the rocks up, and I still have, and we should be able to deal with the Crook and the T-Serena. Like, my Gallade still outspeeds every single person here, so I know I'm going to be able to take a huge chunk off whoever comes in. So I figured it's a good enough gamble. I knew I could live it, albeit not ideal, but I was happy enough. So we're not doing too bad here. In comes the Scizor. He just takes me out. I figured we might as well sack this thing because this allows me to get Moltres back in, and we go for the Mystical Fire here. Actually, sorry, I went for the Roost that time. My bad. We do just U-turn about. I'm just slowly getting a little bit more chip here on this Azumarill. Oh, sorry, on this Tapu Fini. He goes for the Moonblast. That's fine. We eat that all day. He goes back into his Mega Scizor. I'm just going to go for the Seismic Toss. That just gives me a little bit more chip there. I'm very happy with that. I'm going to bring a Nidoqueen here. I kind of realized I needed something else to kind of come in and eat a hit off this Scizor. And he let that stay in. Now, that was a major play here. He didn't let that happen at the real start. So the fact that he was willing to go for that so early on, at that point then, he probably felt he was under a bit of pressure being 5 to 4 down, that he needed to kind of try and make something happen there with the Scizor. He probably thought maybe I don't want to play it. For me, Flamethrower is as safe as could be. If Tapu Fini comes in, I get chip on it. And if anything else kind of comes in, whether it be the Crook, whatever, it's fine. I got mad at World of Light for Smash Ultimate. Fair enough. Okay, so that's how you drop the Switch on the iPad. Oh, God. I am still playing FM, but I'm playing it privately. That's what I'm doing. Fritz, how you doing? Thank you so much for coming to the stream. Did not expect the fire move there. Yeah, I knew I had to bring it. To be fair, he kind of knew that I might have it, but I didn't show it earlier on in the game, so he kind of went for it. So, interesting that he did. In comes the Fini now. I decided to just play it safe. I bring him the IrishEmerald, and we tank that Surf, no problem. And this is where I kind of look to protect stall here a little bit. I want to get my HP back up. I'm starting to get a little bit low. This is my Tapu Fini answer. He does get a crit there, which is really unfortunate, but there's not more I can do other than just try and just stall him out here, basically, because I don't want anyone else to kind of come in. He does go for another Moonblast. I do lose a little bit. I do lose my special attack drop, but it's fine. I'm kind of not doing too badly here. We're slowly whittling this Fini down. I do decide to switch out there rather than let Fini just take me out. Now, probably questionable because I should have just let IrishEmerald go there, right? That's probably what I should have done. Let IrishEmerald go so I can bring in anybody in to finish off this Tapu Fini. So it's really unfortunate. That was definitely a big mistake, but it is what it is. He elects to preserve his Tapu Fini here, and at this point we start to make a couple of mistakes here. I decided to try and stall out this T-Serena here a little bit. Oh, sorry, no, it's not just yet. It's a bit later. I'm trying to vaguely remember how these games go. It's been a while. It's been a minute. He does bring out the Crook here on this on our Nidoqueen, and he does miss the Stone Edge. Now I went there just to try and see if I can beat this Crocodile, and he does go for the Stone Edge again, which I was surprised about. I thought he might have pivoted, but we do remove the Crook. This is looking very good here so far, you guys. You're probably thinking, right, we got Fini gone, T-Serena gone. It's looking great. I do sack the Nidoqueen there, and arguably this is... I start to make a couple of mistakes here at this point, which is not great. He goes for the Rapid Spin, and we go for the Gyro Ball. We're kind of almost... We're definitely getting a big chunk there, but he's got Synthesis, and this is where the game really turns, because I have 4 Gyro Balls at this point. He's got 8 Synthesis, and he's got knockoff. So he's knocked off my lefty's recovery. I get my rocks up there. Definitely not ideal. I probably should have just killed him. Now, I'm rusty. This is my first game in like 2 or 3 months. So the fact that we got here is great, but you're starting to see a bad problem here in that I'm wasting my Gyro Balls, and we're doing less than half. And this is a big problem. I am not able to break this thing before I lose my Gyro Balls. And I've lost the ball now. So I'm relying on EQ. Now the way I'm seeing it is that if I can just kind of wear him down, the way I see it is like we're probably going to have to like try and wear him down, get a burn if we can with the Moltres. We did do just that. So really happy, but unfortunately he's going to outspeed. Now I should have done this at like ages ago, right? I should have done this a while ago when I still had the Gyro Balls, because Gyro Ball would have done more than 50% if he was at 2 Rapid Spins, but I did not do that. So I'm kind of sitting here with my IrishEmerald, and we just lose. So I've lost Moltres, I've lost IrishEmerald. I have Bronzong, who cannot touch this thing with EQ anymore. So I'm relying on my Greninja here to maybe produce something, but he's too fast, so we get knocked out. And that just leaves my Bronzong then for just to get picked off here eventually between knockoffs and such. And that's exactly what happens. I click it to hyper fast so you guys can see. We get knocked out. There's not more I can do about it, and that's it. When you're in the moment making mistakes comes naturally. I know that feeling way too well. Yeah, it just happens, and look, we were rusty. We were very rusty, but we got into a great position. But the problem was that I was there looking at Bronzong thinking, oh, we're fine. There's a couple of problems we could have done here. There's a couple of things, right? With the Fini down to 33%, right? I decided to sack Nidoqueen. Now, if Nidoqueen comes in on this T-Serena, right, and with this moveset, we should, especially when it's burnt, we beat it, right? I smack it with the Sludge Wave, it's dead. So sacking Nidoqueen when we did, maybe not the best idea, when I could have just sacked the IrishEmerald when it was at like 6%. So should have sacked the IrishEmerald. That means Nidoqueen can break through this. Once I seen Synthesis on this thing, I should have removed Bronzong entirely from the field of play, because at that point then, he's just, I know he's stalling at my gyro balls. I got 8 of them. And he's just going to stall me out until I don't have them anymore and then beat me. I should have removed our Bonson from the field of play immediately. Switch in the Moltres, because we had lost, we've removed the Mega Scizor at that point. Brought in Moltres, let Moltres die or, you know, do something to this thing. And then, you know, try to, you know, beat it with the Nidoqueen or the Greninja, depending on how fast it is at that point, because we might be able to smack it with a move. So, a couple of mistakes there. We were in a great position, but we just allowed a couple of Pokemon that can beat the T-Serena to just go, and then that's when he was able to beat us, you know, which is unfortunate. But it is what it is. So that was the first game. We're 0-1 starting off. Very unfortunate, but it is what it is. So we'll just have to kind of push on a little bit. So let me try and get the second result up. Over the world matchup. So we're gonna move on to the next matchup, week 2. By the way, don't forget to jump in, ask questions, all that kind of good stuff. I want to just come over here really quick and we'll slide over to the team matchup and we can kind of talk through what we're doing here. Over the world. Okay, so hopefully you guys can still see what's going on. Just it's roasting here. Jesus, I'm always well trained. Right, week 1 we lost. It was our own stupidity really because we hadn't bet. So we're playing this. So this is our week 2 matchup, and we'll see on the right hand side we're up against Mega Diancie, Aegislash, Hydreigon, Galarian Slowking, Bulu, Volcanion, Beware, Roland Fan, Sandslash, Froggy and Chargerbug. Firstly, like the Mega Diancie is just completely and utterly terrifying. Like it's one of the best Pokemon in the format. It's terrifying to come up against. Like it's really, really scary. It gets like a ton of coverage. It can sub, it can combine. It really does shut down the type of offense I like to play as well, because I like getting my hazards up. I like wearing my opposition down. The fact that he's got the mirror bounce ability means that like that's something that's just will not happen. So that's quite scary. The Aegislash is a little bit scary as well. We've seen how well I've used that in like previous leagues while we've been qualifying for the World Cup. So we know that is an absolute terrifying threat to us. So we got a couple of like really, really scary options here that we have to deal with. But hopefully we can pull something off here. So we're not looking too bad here. So moving over. Boom. If I can get to the right scene, I would be laughing. If I can get to the right screen, there we go, bang. I should get this. The production levels, guys, obviously questionable, but it is what it is. We'll endeavor to do better. Okay, firstly, we want to switch sides here. Ooh, there we go, perfect. All right, Mega Diancie, Aegislash, the Hydreigon, the Galarian Slowking, Dugtrio. So bear in mind, like there'll be certain Pokemon that would have switched out between then and now. I should actually open another window just in case, because I have that open. I have all these recorded on Discord. So let me go and open that up just so I can be like, whoo. Where is it? Just so yeah, I think that'd be better. I think that'd be way, way better. Where can beat me down? Not that one, not that one. Keep scrolling up, keep scrolling up. Where is it? I just want to double check if there's any other changes. There we go. Okay, so you see the team on the screen, but I'd be able to make up. I'd be able to like ensure that I would keep you up to date from now on. Right. Okay, so let's dive into this. I can't quite recall how this one went. I have a slight recollection, but we'll see what happens. We kind of come in here, he immediately goes for Focus Blast on my Greninja, which is terrifying. I ain't dealing with that, because I cannot beat this thing easily. So I'm just going to U-turn out. I got my Zoomer here that's able to kind of deal with this. Actually, before we drive on, briefly, the team for this one, just so I can kind of tell you what we got. I have an Assault Vest Azumarill with max attack so that we can absolutely we could potentially deal with this Volcanion. I got a Kyurem with lefties with substitute so that because we should be able to get sub off against this guy. We got a Spadef Bronzong with some attack investment in order to kind of pivot in and out a little bit on the Diancie. We got a fast Needle Queen with Shuckerberry. We have Greninja, which is obviously our revenge killer, and then we have our Gallade with SD. Okay, so we managed to knock off his Assault Vest, so we know what set he is. But still, though, this guy is absolutely terrifying. We've actually misplayed horribly around this guy because within 5 turns he has managed to obliterate my Azumarill that has absolutely can only really take 1 special hit from now on, and other than that is doing very, very little, and he's absolutely destroyed my Greninja. So we've completely misplayed around this Volcanion, because I was too worried about doing something else with my other mon. So we've completely misplayed around here. So Diancie is a bigger threat now because Greninja can't revenge kill. And if he has anything Scarf, we're in big trouble. Well, I have a feeling Volcanion is going to be a huge issue. It's definitely a big problem. He brings in the Aegislash here. I actually go for the EQ, predicting that because it was a safe enough play that I can go for EQ and should be able to deal with it. I go for the SD here, and this is an incredibly greedy play by me. Going for the SD because I didn't think he'd stay in, knowing that he saw the damage I had just hit him with. I thought he would have made a switch into the Slow King or something. So by doing that, I've literally, again, another mistake. I got greedy. I should have taken the EQ and done the damage. He's buying his Dugtrio to revenge kill me. Another massive problem. So he's going to stay in with this thing, and I've gone for the sub. You kind of see the running theme here is that I've continuously gotten greedy ever since we went behind, rather than just taking a kill of what was in front of me. Had I stayed in here and just gone for the Ice Beam, this Dugtrio is now not a problem for my Nidoqueen anymore. So really, really big issue here. Making a lot of mistakes. Gotten really, really greedy, should have taken my kill. I do take my kill this time, realizing this has not worked out. And we are hopefully going to have to try and get our HP back somewhere else. It brings in this thing. I'm switching right out into my Nidoqueen. We see the Scale Shot, so I know this thing's going to be very, very scary. Knowing that this could be a Scale Shot with and physical, so very, very scary. That he does go out into his Volcanion here. I know I'm faster because I've built my Nidoqueen to be faster, so I knock out the Volcanion, which is great. So at the moment we were thinking, right, okay, we're not too bad here considering the start we've had. Turn 17, we've come around, we've knocked out the Aegislash, we've knocked out Dugtrio, and we knocked out Volcanion. The Hydreigon's a bit of an issue, but we do have the means to be able to potentially knock out this Slow King because we have Pressure Kyurem with Sub Roost. We should be able to deal with that, and hopefully we have enough walls about us to be able to kind of shut down the rest of his team. So given how bad it started, it's not over yet, so it's great. He does Mega Evolve. He goes for a skill swap in order to get Heat Proof. I went Heat Proof to help deal with the Volcanion a little bit, and he immediately just pivots out because he was wanting the ability of our Nidoqueen in order to get Sheer Force, but we won't allow that. We do pivot into Kyurem here after getting the EQ off because we went for the Slack off. This is a great opportunity for us to Roost Sub and all that kind of stuff, so I just go for my Roost as he goes for Sludge Bomb. Big boy damage there, which is really unfortunate. We go for the EP and we realize, okay, this thing's incredibly bulky. And obviously incredibly bulky, he's not Assault Vest, and he's got his Calm Minds off. And we're kind of looking at this thinking, right, we have to try and, pressure stall him a little bit, but this is not going to go well. So we've let the Kyurem go down, and we're bringing Azumarill, knowing Azumarill is fully offensive. But you saw there, he has the Culver Berry. The knockoff does not work. If he doesn't have Culver Berry, we break him, and we're kind of dealing with Diancie, who's at 88%, and we're dealing with the Hydreigon. So it could have been slightly different. We do have the Aqua Jet, so we potentially could kill the Mega Diancie, and we have play rough for the Hydreigon. And if that doesn't work, we still have the Nidoqueen at full in order to maybe take a hit from the Hydreigon and smack it with an Ice Beam. So very unfortunate there, but it is what it is. We'll keep going. Master J says slow pain can take his setup and has recovery. Vietnam flashbacks incoming. Oh, man, it's a killer, but like, you know, it was something that we knew could have came, and we've used Galarian Slowking ourselves, so we know that these things are really problematic. We go for the taunt here because I know I need to shut this thing down from doing madness with my Nido and setting up again. So the Nidoqueen does manage to break through the Slowking. He brings into the Ansi, and I bring in Bronzong. He goes for the EP, knowing that I'm heat proof now, which is really unfortunate. He does go for another EP, and he does pick us off. Had we managed to maybe live that, it could have been a little bit different. But we do go for the EP this time. We knock out the Ansi. Had we actually, and this is something I'm not going to entertain here. He decided he wanted to show up his tech, right? And we ain't doing that. He beats me here, but he wants to show off his tech. Look, he did it, but he ain't getting it. He ain't getting it out with me on stream. Not on my retirement stream. So we lose 0-1. The big thing here is that if we wanted to agree at the start, we could have kept our Mega Gallade pretty much at full. Knowing that we could have knocked out the Aegislash in 2 hits with the EQ, that would have been fantastic. Imagine if we managed to knock out the Aegislash. I assumed he was going to go for the King Shield. If I just gone for another EQ, Aegislash would have been gone. I would have been at full HP, and that would have meant that we would have been able to at least eat a hit from the Dugtrio and kill it. We would have been able to pivot around. It would have been a revenge kill the Volcanion. We would have been able to do a little bit of work with the Hydreigon, knowing that I outspeed that thing later on in the game. So hell of a lot of things that we missed out on with Mega Gallade, and then the Kyurem as well. Had we just gone for the Ice Beam on the Dugtrio, that would have been massive because we wouldn't have lost our sub and what have you. We could have just gone Ice Beam, knock out the Dugtrio. We would have been a lot more happier then, knowing that we would have kept our Kyurem a little bit more healthy, and it means then when we go in against the Slowking later on in life, rather than Slowking going for the Calm Mind or Slack Off, I can actually then, you know, I can then go on an offensive move or substitute, knowing that I don't have to go for Roost. So a couple of things there that obviously went wrong. So 0-2 here, not ideal at all, but it is what it is, unfortunately. So look, we obviously have to bounce back. Right, after that we have another matchup. Let me just get it. Let me just get it just right. Involving you, just watch my wildest dreams come true. Okay, matchup. Yeah, you guys can see it perfect. Okay, we might actually get the hang of this before the stream ends. You never know. Dark size. No, perfect, beautiful. Right. I just want to make sure that I have this. This is like for certain the right team here that you guys are going to be seeing on screen. And don't forget, guys. You know, if you have a question, let me know. Give me a shout. So we are seeing pulled. So we are seeing pulled Galarian Dimantan, Excadrill, Sylveon, Mega Pidgeot, Blastoise, Electros, Garbodor, Thwackey, Houndoom, and Poor Ugly is the team we're going up against. Couple of really scary things here. Pulled is obviously a major threat in this format. So, you know, obviously we're going to have to try and deal with that. We do have a couple of Pokemon that we did draft to help deal with a Dragapult, because luckily it's not as much of a threat in like full Nat Dex as it is in Wi-Fi. So luckily enough, that's good enough. The Galarian Dimantan, we know with the Gorilla Tactics, that's a massive problem. So we have to have a check for that. He does have the Shell Smash on the Blastoise. That is a scary threat. Electros has absolutely no weakness, so we're never going to be able to hit that super effectively. So that actually does take a little bit of beating. And then he's got priority in the Thwackey that's able to kind of come in, get Grassy Terrain, and give the Grassy Terrain around to a few Pokemon. So a couple of issues. But we do have a couple of things that are able to do really good work here against this team. Roughly what we bought, I'll quickly mention it for you guys. We bought SD Gallade again. SD Gallade is pretty much a great matchup like every time. So There's no reason why we shouldn't bring it. Drain Punch, Shadow Sneak, and Zen Headbutt is pretty much all we need. And the Zen Headbutt for like the Garbodor, and the Drain Punch kind of hits like the everything. Hits the Darmanitan, the Excadrill, the what's it called, the Houndoom, hits the Purgly, like hits everything, gives us our HP back. And the Shadow Sneak is then for the Dragapult. If we weren't too afraid of Dragapult, obviously the Poison Jab would have been a better option for the Sylveon, but we have to kind of pick up Poison there, and I figured the Dragapult not being able to kind of have a Revenge Killer there on that would have been too terrifying. So we went with that. We went with Spadef Komola to deal with the Dragapult, a special Dragapult. So if he brings physical, a bit more scary, but we brought Komola for that. We are bringing leftovers Azumarill with Play Rough, Liquidation, Protect, and Aqua Jet. That was mainly just a reaction from the previous game where Assault Vest, although we needed it, didn't work out. So I said we're bringing the leftovers this week. With a pretty much mostly physical attack with a touch Spadef to help deal with a couple of threats. We're bringing leftovers Cure with again similar situation, just so I have passive recovery, because that was something again that hurt us a lot last week. The Bronzong is fully Spadef in order to help protect us against the Sylveon and the Mega Pidgeot. And then we have the Greninja again, Revenge Killer with Spikes. That's pretty much it. Okay, so who are we dealing with? This is the... Right, week 3. We're up against the Pult. We're up against the Pult, Blastoise, the Thwackey, the Excadrill, the Sylveon, and the Electros. So, look, pretty scary. The Pult, obviously a major threat. Blastoise, I'm just thinking Shell Smash. That's an offensive threat. The Thwackey can come in, and Thwackey's a nuisance, right? It's cool. It is like a mini Rillaboom, so it can be a problem. Excadrill, it's definitely with the Mold Breaker can absolutely smash through our Bronzong, which is what I'm expecting. The Sylveon then can kind of come in on the Kyurem, and the Electros is just really, really a nuisance to deal with. So let's see what happens. I again leave with my Greninja. Now, as soon as I see this, I know we ain't dealing with here, because he will outspeed with the Grassy Glide. So he just actually reads that and goes for the U-turn and brings in the Sylveon. This is like literally perfect for him. This couldn't have gone any better a start. I'm going to bring my Bronzong, and he just baton passes out and brings in Excadrill with the Mold Breaker. As we said, middle stage starter, not going to lie, weird option. No, the Thwackey's very good. The Thwackey's very, very good, because like it's got decent enough attack, and then the grassy terrain gives him recovery, boosts his grass type attacks, and then he's got priority with the Grassy Glide. And on top of that, he's holding a Volite, so you actually can't really one-hit KO him until you knock him off. And then because he's got the Volite, he can then get an SD. So he has SD. He's got a boosted priority grass type attack, and he's got passive recovery for another 4 turns. So it's actually really good. It's actually good enough, man. It's something that you gotta get mindful of. You're probably thinking, oh, geez, that's a little bit weird, but actually it's probably the most powerful, definitely the most powerful offensive middle Evo starter you can have, because it just has all those tools with its hidden ability. So something to keep mindful of anyways when you see it. So he actually went for the step walk there, knowing that I was going to make a switch there, and that was an interesting play by him. Obviously puts me under a lot of pressure, but he could have gone with something a little bit different. Now I went for the Iron Head. That was a little bit of tech that I brought on my Kyurem to help deal with that Sylveon, because I knew he was going to read me making the switching out every time. And I knew if I can just catch him with an Iron Head, that would break the Sylveon, and it has. So that's going to force the Sylveon potentially to go for a Wish at some point. He brings in the Pult here. This is terrifying, and he likes to bring in the Electros. I actually went for Protect because I wanted to see what the hell we're doing here, and this Electros is in, so I know, right, I need to get damage on this Electros. No matter what, I need to get damage here, because I can't break this thing, and we do get a freeze, which is huge. Because I ain't breaking this thing otherwise, because there's no weakness. I don't have Mold Breaker, and we do actually with the freeze manage to break through the Electros. Very lucky, but we'll take that. I'm going to go for the Protect, because I want to see what this thing is. I now see he's got Dragon Darts. That was the main thing I wanted to do. I want to see, is he physical, is he special? I've seen Dragon Darts. I know he is a physical, I know he's a physical Pult potentially now, because otherwise he would have been rocking out with the Draco Meteor or the Dragon Pulse. But he's gone for it. He has the physical Dragon type move, so I'm like, okay, probably going to be a physical Pult. No, gotta have it. keep a mindful of that as we're dealing with this. He brings in the Thurwaki here, as I actually pivot around into my Azumarill. And again, this is just not a good idea, a good situation for me. So I am going to protect just to try and stall out the terrain, as he went for the knockoff. I'm trying to suss out what this Thurwaki wants to do. I'll bring in my Kyurem again, as he goes for the Grassy Glide. We do eat that up, which I'm really, really happy about. And I can get a passive recovery. I go for the freeze dry and he goes for the U-turn, which was really interesting. I thought he would have potentially gone for the Grassy Glide there, but he didn't, so I was happy out. The reason why I was thinking that he might, actually no, because he's at 60%. Don't mind me. I thought, for whatever reason, I thought at the time he would, but we do get our wish off. He decides, we do stay and we get protect. We get the last bit of recovery from the terrain. He gets his wish off and he's going to Baton Pass back into Thurwaki to keep that thing healthy. Interesting decision, because he could have done that he could have kept it in with the Sylveon, but it is what it is. He goes for the U-turn and he looks to bring the Excadrill to try and break through my Komala. Lost slow, as you can tell, this is a much slower game here for me. And I'm going to bring in my Greninja. Now I'm going to bring in hard because I checked everything and I knew he cannot break my Greninja here when I was doing the calc. So I was like, okay, I can eat a hit here. And I thought he would, I was for certain there he was going to switch out, which is really unfortunate that he didn't, but I was there thinking he'd switch out here because he knows, I know he's, I know he'll be able to outspeed me, right? But he doesn't know I'd be able to outspeed him or whatever. He doesn't know like what my set is. So I was there thinking if I get Surf off, I can kill this thing. But he just stays in and goes for the kill and he gets it. So it's unfortunate, but I do get my spike off and I'm really happy about that. So I've lost my revenge killer, but at the very least, we can live with it. I go for the Drain Punch here. I get a little bit of chip off on the Sylveon as I realise he's Rocky Helmet. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but I just go for the Zen Headbutt. I need to kill the Sylveon. It opens up the door for my Kyurem, so down that thing goes. Income is pulled. Now I'm a little bit too weak. I need an SD to be able to pick off this Pulse with the Shadow Snake as he goes for the Phantom Force. And I make a major mistake here, thinking, oh, I can protect here. No. Phantom Force always break through protect. I should have gone straight into Commander when I saw that. So really unfortunate. I just simply forgot. So another mistake there for me, just being a little bit rusty. As he then goes for another Phantom Force. I now know the play here is to go back into my Kamala. And I know what this thing is now. I know, right, okay, he's physical, he's got Phantom Force, he's got Dragon Darts. So I know what the story is. He doesn't have U-turn. I know that much. He brings in the Excadrill here, and I go for the knockoff. Away goes the Shuckleberry. And we got a little bit more chip here. I bring in my Bronzong, thinking, okay, what's he going to do here? Comes in, just gets rid of the spikes, which is unfortunate. Could do with them, but not more we can do with it as he goes for the high horsepower with the Mold Breaker and breaks through me, which is what he wanted, which is what this extra wanted to do all along. We pivot around and I bring in the Azumarill, and look, the Thurwaki just eats that for breakfast. So really unfortunate. I'm going to pivot back out to my Kyurem, predicting the Grassy Glide here. I have no really other choice other than Kyurem, so sucks, but no other option. I'll bring in my Mega Glade. I did the calcs. I know I can eat it here. So I'm just going to go try and get a little bit of chip as he goes for the U-turn and brings in my Pult. Oh, sorry, his Pult. I go for the Shadow Sneak knowing I have to get some sort of damage here off on this thing, and unfortunately he has the Queso Berry. It's starting to look, definitely after taking a little bit more of a downhill turn here. Mainly simply because I just allowed him to break my Bronzong. If Bronzong's not broken, we're in a little bit much better position. So all because of one silly little mistake, we've allowed ourselves to become, we've actually managed to lose our Mega Glade and Kyurem just by gradually being worn down here. And unfortunately, we do get to the situation where I'm kind of have to rely on my Azumarill, and you kind of can tell by the Pokemon that's left on the field, this is not going to happen. He goes for the Phantom Force. He does pretty much break through me as I go for the Play Rough, and we break off the Azumarill, and that just leaves the Thurwaki, which has been an absolute nuisance. It's just a shame we didn't have the Moltres here. Moltres would have shut down this Thurwaki all day, but or the Gourgeist for that matter, and Gourgeist was definitely a Pokemon I was thinking about bringing, and we could have used it here, but unfortunately it's just not going. It was just not going to be the case. So look, it is what it is. I'm just trying to protect stall here a little bit to see if we can maybe wear down the terrain, but I know it's just not going to happen. I just had to gamble there a little bit and see if we could do something, but unfortunately it's not going to happen. GG's to our opponent. It was 3-0 and we're 0-3 in the World Cup, which is really bad. Like, talk about as bad of a start as you can get. Like, they're close games and it's all down to our mistake. And it just shows, like, at this level, like, one mistake does absolutely crucify you. Like, that bronze on being broken really did kill us, because we could have, like, really used it once Sylveon was gone. We could really have used it to come in on this Thwaki a little bit and sponge a couple of hits. Or we could have used it as a sack. But the fact that that was already broken, I was broken from stupidity. That, you know, not great. Not our best moment. Not our best moment. Anyways, that brings us on to week 4. We're flying through this, which is great. I know, I agree, Master J. It does suck. It does indeed suck. Who am I dealing with? I shouldn't actually have you on the screen. As I'm pulling up these, I don't want you guys to get the. I don't want you guys getting the results, you know. Copy that. Okay, and okay. Bang. There we go. We'll go with this. And bang. Okay. And you guys should have this now on the screen. So that is the team that we're going up against. Beautiful day. And I'll just make that a little bit dark. We'll come back to it now in a moment. Okay. And let me double check that is actually the right team that you're seeing there. So we're seeing Lando T. He has made changes. So what the team you're seeing on the screen is actually not the team I played. The team that I played against that we're looking to prep is Lando T, Mega Aerodactyl, Latias, Corvic Knight, Breloom, Incineroar, Alamomola, Florges, Dusclops, Elagos, and Shedinja. So major issues that I was dealing with. And what we'll do is I won't hang here too long, because I'll jump over to actually the game, because the team is like, there's lots of changes there. So we'll jump right over to the game. And you guys will be able to see exactly what we're dealing with a little bit more. And I'll be able to talk to you some of the concerns I had. So, hey Aquarius, welcome back. So a couple of concerns here on this team when we were prepping. Obviously, he has the Alamomola as well. So he had a really, really bulky team that we had to deal with. Between the Covering Knight, the Florges, and the Alamomola, being able to just kind of tank a plethora of different hits. So that was really, really a nuisance. He has a Lando T on top of that, which is like, you know, one of the best Pokemon in the game. And Incineroar can be incredibly bulky too, and the Latias. So we knew we had to bring a hell of a lot of offensive pressure to be able to deal with this team. Plus, the Mega Aerodactyl itself requires a revenge killer because of its top end speed. Positive, at least you guys can take down half the team at least, rather than totally get totally your Mankeys kicked. Aye, look, man, you know, the killer for me is the mistakes, right? Like every game we've had a mistake, you know. So I haven't had like a clean game where I'm like I actually played like to my absolute ability. Now a lot of this is down to us, a lot of this is down to lack of time, like so, you know. But that's definitely the annoyance, is that like there's mistakes here. Whereas if I don't make mistakes, there's argument we could have been 3-0 if I don't, or at least 2-1 if I haven't made any mistakes. So problem. But anyways, we're 0-3 and we're going to this, and this obviously this matchup requires a hell of a lot of offensive pressure. The team I just roughly call out the team that we have for going into this game, so you guys have an idea. Week 4, we're bringing bulk up Mega Galate this week to try and counteract the Corvic Knight and the Latias, particularly the Latias, because the Latias cannot actually break through the Galate. So we're going to bring bulk up with Drain Punch, Poison Jab, and Knockoff. A lot of HP, a lot of attack, and some speed investment, because other than Mega Aerodactyl, it doesn't have that much top end speed, and I didn't care about outspeeding Latias because I was like, I'm bulking up here, I'm going to gamble. We're bringing an offensive Nidoqueen. I was always kind of bringing some sort of bulky Nidoqueen variant, offensive Nidoqueen variant this week with the Life Orb. Azumarill, we brought Perish Trap with mixed defense, so hopefully we'll see how that goes. Kuramas Choice Scarf this week, so because we figure we should be able to outrun a lot of his team. We have the Moltres then for... What was it that we had Moltres for? I can't recall. But we brought mainly an offensive Moltres with some Spadef. And then we brought the Gorgeist with the Cobra Berry. Offensive spread. What was that for? I can't quite recall. I normally write this all down when I put the team together. I don't have it written down anywhere. Anyways, We're going to drive on, and we'll talk about, and we'll play the game. Mistakes happen. Yeah, true. Happens, man. Happens. Just frustrating. Okay, let's see what happens. We leave with the IrishEmerald. Out comes Latias. He immediately switches out and says Cover Night, knowing that this is not a great situation because he can't break me. I go for the Whirlpool. I'm like, I want to trap something. So we'll go for the Whirlpool. He U-turns out. I knew that there was a potential that Cover Night would have U-turn. Now, why I went for the Perish trap was because I could trap the Florges and the Alamomola really nicely. So I knew that was the thing that I really wanted to do. But he does have a hell of a lot of pivoting on his team with Cover Night, Lando, and then Incineroar. So I knew we were just going to have to try and wear him down and see if we can break him. I knew he's going to U-turn here, so I'm going to go for the... Oh, sorry, I predicted the U-turn. But because I knew he was going to be trapped, and he doesn't actually risk the U-turn there on my Moltres, knowing he can get burned. I go for the Toxic, knowing he's going to switch here, and I do get Toxic off an Incineroar, which is nice. I U-turn about, bring in my Nidoqueen. He goes for a knockoff. That was a huge hit. I thought we would be able to do... I thought we'd be able to tank that a lot more than what we actually did. Looking back on it, I should have gone to Azumarill immediately. I should have gone to Azumarill. Even if I was going to get knocked off, should have gone to my Azumarill there and just allowed my Azumarill to go for the Whirlpool and all that kind of stuff, because I would have at least eat that hit a lot more. But alas, I didn't. He does switch out knowing I'm potentially faster, seeing that I was offensive with the Life Orb, and I just go for my rocks to get them up. Azumarill does come in, and as you can see, I'm just trying to get a bit of HP back, but I realised, oh, this is a fruitless endeavour. So I just sacked the Nidoqueen, and I'm bringing Pumpkin. This is a mistake here. I should have brought in my Gallade. I had designed Gallade to kind of come in on my Latias here. No, but and be able to kind of maybe bulk up. Now I know his choice specs, right? Because I know his choice specs at this moment here, right? Sorry, at this moment, because I frisk him with Gourgeist. But ideally, because I don't know what he is now, I should probably calculate. But I know Gallade can beat this Latias, right? So I should have probably looked at doing it. I don't know if it's a major mistake, because probably the Latias doing a lot of damage, but I should have maybe been a bit braver there. I don't know. But anyways, we bring in the Gourgeist and we see Incineroar come in. I'm just going to pivot around a little bit, and we do manage to make a couple of nice reads, which is great. I do protect as we see this Incineroar try and go for a knockoff. I know I have to stay in here, and that's definitely, as we just mentioned, the play we should have made. Should have brought in the Azumarill on Incineroar so that our Nidoqueen didn't get damaged as much. And you're going to see how much of a problem this becomes later on in the game. I missed my Whirlpool here. That was huge. Had I landed that, it's a little bit... It can turn into a slightly different game. But unfortunately, the Moonblast just straight up knocks me out. I do come in with my Moltres and I just get a Toxic off on this Florges. I have to, in order to try and wear it down, because I don't really have that many great ways of being able to deal with it. In comes the Latias, and I bring my Gourgeist again to try and deal with this thing. The Psychic does 78%. It's huge. I go for the Shadow Sneak. I do get a crit, but it's not really that much, and Latias does just pick me off. I go with my Kyurem, and I just outspeed it, and I go for the Ice Beam. I have to kill it. That's all I have for going for me at the moment. He brings in the Florges. I'm bringing in the Moltres again. Moltres I know can eat any hit from this Florges, so I'm trying to just wear this thing down. He stays in, and I was kind of like, oh man, that would have been nice if I caught the Lando or the Aerodactyl, but it is what it is. He does bring the Aerodactyl this time, and I know I'm in trouble at this point. So as he goes for the Stone Edge, he lands it. I've no other move there, because I don't want to bring in Gallade or anything else. He does actually switch in his Lando here, which I thought was a bit crazy, but he did it. He brings in the Florges at this point and just kicks Moonblast. I don't really have too many answers for this Florges now, and he kind of knows it. I'm going to go for another Ice Beam as he just gradually tries to pick me off with the Moonblast. And this is where, Nidoqueen going down was a big problem for us. I go for the bulk up here knowing I have to get greedy. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why did I do that? At this point here, I tried to figure out what's my end game. Like, I have to figure out, okay, how am I going to finish off this team? How am I going to finish off Aerodactyl and Corviknight and Florges? And the way I saw it was, I need 2 bulk ups I need a certain amount of HP, and I have Drain Punch. I think that was it. Maybe one bulk up with a certain amount of HP in order to live the Aerodactyl's dual wing beat. So I knew there was a certain amount I had to get. I go for the poison jab, but I kind of knew if you went for the Moonblast, that I didn't have much other choice. So that point, when options limited, you just want to get some damage on. You have to try and figure out the end game, right? And just the end game there was very, very, like, I didn't have any other option. But really, the big mistake again, and it comes down to more mistakes, was that rather than letting Azumarill come in on the Incineroar, and I wanted Azumarill healthy to kind of help deal with the Latias, but rather than just saying, right, I 100%, no matter what, I need a Nidoqueen. I need a Nidoqueen to break through the Corvette Knight, which is still at 100% here, by the way. That's a major problem. And I need a Nidoqueen to help me break through the Florges as my main wall breaker. I should never have brought that in raw on an Incineroar. I should have brought in the Moltres, and I should have brought or the Azumarill and taken the knockoff. Definitely probably the Moltres, and just be like, right, we have to take the knockoff here. We have no other choice but to do it, and then try and get damage off an Incineroar. The fact that we let one of their bulkier mons absolutely break through one of our wall breakers really did hinder us, and when we sacked the Nidoqueen later on in the game, that was a major mistake, because it just meant the floor just staying, as you saw as the game went on, became such a wall for us to break through that by the time we broke through it, we were already beaten. So major mistake there. Not great. We're 0-4, so not a great start to things, but it is what it is. But we can literally like summarize the first 4 games as mistakes, and just more mistakes. Really, it has been like a plethora of mistakes, and if the mistakes were a little bit different, we could be in a bit of position. Now I don't know how that game goes if I don't make that mistake with Nidoqueen. I'm not too sure. It could easily be that we turn. It could be 2-2 or 3-1. But the fact that we're kind of on, that's where we're at, definitely does suck. Alright, so let me put up the next game, and let me kind of switch the scene around. Okay, and just setting this all up, guys. Beautiful. Alright, okay, so different kind of game here. We're definitely best teacher in anything in life. Mistakes, lots and lots of mistakes. Yeah, it's just plethora of them. Now, I should point out at this point, right, we're not actually still out of the race here, because there's like 2 or 3 teams that have been going through the opposition, and have done really, really well. So it means that like 8th place, which was like where the cutoff of playoffs was like 2 wins. They only had 2 wins, so we're still like, even though we're like 0-4, we're not out of this entirely. Like, you know, there was still a run that could have been made here. So we're still coming in here with a positive mindset, knowing that, oh my god, I still can't believe we're in this. Like, we just need 1 win just to really like kind of rebound, and our diff isn't that bad either. As you've seen, they've all been close enough losses. We haven't been blown out. It's been like a slight mistake. We lose 1, 2, 3-0. And it's been close. Whereas like if we were being blown out 6-0, like it'd be a different story. We'll show you. You'll see why we brought Emolga later on, Master J. You'll see the reason why it was drafted. So this team, I'm pretty sure at this point the teams we were up against are locked in, so I don't have to double check them, which is beautiful. Celesteela, Mega Gardevoir, Cinderace, Haxorus, Shaman, Swampert, Drapion, Archeops, Rotom-Frost, Hitmonchan, and Kangaskhan. It's probably one of the first times where I looked at a team and I'm like, I'm not overly afraid of this. I know there's threats, but I'm not as afraid of it as I was other games. The Celesteela is obviously a threat, like it can do a few different things, but you know, it can be prepped for. The Mega Gardevoir is obviously a problem, but we have Bronzong. Cinderace with that elite speed, very, very scary, but we do have Greninja with our own elite speed. Haxorus and Shaman, they can be slight nuisances. Swampert, you know, is a great mon, but can be broken with Freeze Drive from Kyurem. So, like, we have answers for a lot of these mons. So I was like, okay, this is not too bad. We can definitely kind of do something with this, which is fantastic. The team we brought for this, I quickly just talk through it so you guys can hear what we got. I brought Choice Specs Curum to actually smash through a lot of these Pokemon, particularly the Swampert. We again brought the offensive Nidoqueen because I just know this thing could do work against the Celesteela. And against a couple of other ones like the Shaman and such. So I'm like, we'll bring the Nidoqueen. Greninja, we brought an offensive Greninja with Hydro Pump and the Gunk Shot for the Gardevoir too. U-turn Spikes. Moltres, it's an offensive Moltres again with Hurricane, Flamethrower, U-turn Toxic. Azumarill is Life Orb because I want to be able to switch up moves in this game, and I want us to be able to hit as hard as we can. And a Mega Gallade, Close Combat, Shadow Sneak, Poison Jab, and Swords Dance. For the obvious reasons that you see on the screen. Now, the game itself. Right, we see Cinderace, Celesteela, Gardevoir, Rodent Frost, Shaman, and Swampert. I'm not overly afraid here. I'm looking like in the moment I'm looking at this game. I'm like, okay, we're in a good shout here. We have a good team. We should be able to kind of deal with this. So I'm looking at him like we can beat this. So he leads with the Gardevoir, and he immediately switches out. And I'm like, yeah, he's afraid of Gunk Shot. Perfect. I get my spikes off, I U-turn out, and I see this thing's Rocky Helmet. That's really good, right? Because when I see the Rocky Helmet right there, when I U-turn, I know he's not Power Herb Meteor Beam. And then at that point I know Moltres is safe here. If I don't see the Rocky Helmet, I can't go hard with Moltres. But the fact that I've seen it, as soon as I see it, I'm like, Moltres come in here and I can get damage off every single time. Because he's never going to Power Herb Meteor Beam me and get up to +1 special attack and then autonomize and sweep me. I'm like, okay, you're not that set. Fine, I've scouted you. I've at least scouted. I've removed that set from my scout list, and then he goes for Leech Seed. So I'm thinking, right, okay, he's Leech Seed. Good to know. He brings in the Swampert as I go for the Toxic because I kind of knew he wasn't going to stay in here on a Fire type against my Celesteela, and then I'm going to go for the U-turn. I'll bring in my own Azumarill because I know I can eat a hit here. He just goes for the Stealth Rocks. I'm like, that's fine, dude. Like, I'm going to try and force him to actually remove his rocks. I go for the Play Rough, and I'm delighted with that. He roars and brings up my Curum. I do take the rock damage, but at the very least, I know that Swampert's gone. And so the Azumarill's done massive work there, removing one wall. And not only is that huge help, I just paused it really quick. It just means that my Moltres then, every time it comes in on Celesteela, I will always be able to get a hit off. Now, I know I have rocks but on my side of the field, but I'm everyone, because he doesn't really want to bring the Cinderace in, everyone has to take a Fire type attack, which is beautiful. So, big fan of that. He goes for a Future Sight there against my Curum, which is a really interesting play, rather than just going for the Hyper Voice, because he probably thought I was going to switch. I was there thinking, I'm just going to go for damage here. And he actually allowed me then to bring in my... He allowed me to kill the Curum. I actually want to pause here and talk for a moment. Sorry, guys. I know I'm going off here a little bit. By killing me there, he allows my Greninja to come in and kill off the Gardevoir, right? And that just negates the Future Sight attack. So, one tip, I know like I'm chronic bad at this. It was a mistake I made in week 2. But one tip is like, if you can, when you're in a position where you can take your kill, just take your kill, right? Like Gardevoir was there, in on my Curum. You look at my team, right? I have no bronze on this week. Like, who's coming in on Gardevoir, right? Realistically, it's got to be Azumarill, but he knows that's offensive, right? Gallade, no, it's not. Moltres, I don't think so. The Greninja on Hyper Voice, no, it's not. Nidoqueen, okay, it comes in Hyper Voice, but I knock it out with Psychic next turn. Him going for Future Sight there, that's his mistake, right? Because if he could have just knocked out the Curum, and then all of a sudden he hasn't wasted his turn. Because he wasted his turn there by going for Future Sight and not taking his kill, it meant that I got enough damage off of him to allow me to be able to pick him off with my Celesteela. Oh, sorry, with my Greninja. And his Future Sight he never reaped any reward from his Future Sight. So that'd be the tip for me, is like when you're looking at those kind of plays, when you know you have a chance to get a kill, just take it. And you see what happens when you don't take it, and you see him, and you see it in like the week 2 in this when I was playing, and you see here that it's a mistake, right? You just got to take your kill. If nothing goes horribly wrong now, this should be an easy GG, says Master J. We'll see. There's still threats here. We still have problems. So we have the Celesteela, and we still have the Cinderace that can revenge kill, but there's problems. I do your turnabout on this Celesteela. I forgot he was Rocky Helmet. Well, yeah, pretty sure I forgot he was Rocky Helmet. He goes to Stone Edge and just knocks out my Moltres. He read that, so I was like, okay. So he's Stone Edge, and another thing here, I'm pausing a lot on this game, I'm sorry, but the Celesteela, because I've seen him get this defense boost, I now know, right, because Celesteela can be defense, Spadef, can be a couple of different things, but because he's Spadef, right, oh sorry, he got the defense boost, I now know, okay, it's my Nidoqueen that can break it, rather than my Mega Glade, or rather than Azumarill, because that's what I was looking at. I was looking at, how do I break this thing? I need to know how I'm going to break this Celesteela. Seeing the defense boost, I'm like, okay, it's Nidoqueen that comes in here. So that was just the thing, like, when you see those kind of bits and pieces, how do I break something? Especially Celesteela that has a numerous sets, just scouting that all the time, figuring that out. So I come in, I just T-bolt him straight up. He goes for the heavy slam. I eat that. That's fine because he's not doing that much. He brings in the Road and Frost. I go for another T-bolt. There was nothing wrong with me going for the T-bolt. He missed the Blizzard. I made the risk because I was like, I'm nothing that wants to kind of come in on this Rotom. Because you look at my team, weak to Blizzard, weak to Thunderbolt, weak to Thunderbolt, don't want him to get damaged. So I was like, I've broken the Celesteela. He's on 31%. I'm not going to be able to outspeed the Cinderace, and I don't want to outspeed the Shaman. So I was kind of like, let's eat the hit. I can bring in my Mega Glade and start picking him off. So that's why I made that decision. So just in case anyone's wondering. In comes Cinderace. Similar scenario. I just said we'll take the hit. In comes Greninja. He brings out his Celesteela again. I just go for the Hydro Pump. Down goes the Celesteela. I'm really happy with how this has gone so far, as you can tell. I go for the Gunk Shot just to break the Shaman. The Shaman is now broken. He goes for the Dazzling Gleam. Picks me off. And you're looking at the rest of the team. You're like, we're in really good shape here. My Mega Glade comes in. A Mega Evolve. Poison Jab. Shaman's gone down. And you probably get the picture here. Cinderace, because he's Blaze, the Powerball does the best that he can do, but that's as much as he can. I go for the close combat. Knock him out. We picked a 2-0 win up. Beautiful. So we finally got our first win. Pretty good game. 17 turns overall. Really, and it kind of re-emphasizes the point, when we're not playing, when you make the mistake, you're screwed, right? At this level, because everyone capitalizes on your mistake. You see me capitalize on the Mega Gardevoir mistake, and you see here, and you see in other games when I made a mistake, players are able to capitalize and get enough pressure on you in order to pick up the win. So we managed to pick this win off, and we go 1-4, which is fantastic. So brain stuff worked out really, really well. Alright, so let me grab the next one. I'm obviously feeling myself a little bit here. I'm like, okay, we're finally got a win. Beautiful. Not gonna lie, as soon as I saw Moltres go down, I was gonna say me and my big mouth. Luckily, nothing did go horribly wrong. No, it wasn't too bad. Like the Celesteela, we had kind of scouted. We knew we had answers for. Now, I was unfortunate that he obviously read the Moltres read, but you know, we're okay with that. We're okay to give that. It was pretty spooky, like, you know, but we knew we had answers. Take so close off. Okay, perfect. We have this going up. Okay, nice. And then we will bring you over to the team matchup. I'll just toss this in here real quick. Oh, sada, living the Villa Loca. And perfect. Okay, now the team matchup. Now that I got everything done on the background of production. Gliscor, Jirachi, Buzzhole, Spectrier, Mega Blastoise, Blissey, Dragalge, Venomoth, SQ, Pinchurin, and Thievul. I know the guy who plays as the Montreal Scorpies. His name is what's his name again? Oh, it's killing me. I can't remember. It escapes me at the moment, but he's a very, very good battler. I remember commentating one of his battles before for experiments in order to make traffic content more interesting. Anyways, I'm not a fan of this team. Overall, that's just me. I think there's a couple of other different things they could have done with it, but I'm not going to dive in. The Gliscor, obviously we have Kyurem for that. The Jirachi obviously can win a game by himself with the Iron Head shenanigans. The Buzzhole is a major issue because, you know, we've nothing really that can kind of come in on it. So problem, and Spectrier is a bit of an issue because it hits so hard, but it only has a certain number of moves. So we just got to make sure that we can maybe deal with that. And other than that, we should be fine. The SQ here is a Mega Glade answer, so we got to watch out for that. So a couple of issues. So to work with, so we just got to hope for the best. The team we bought a Lumberry Curum, and we bought Dragon Dance this week. We figure Dragon Dance can do a hell of a lot here, because we should be able to kind of, between Shadow Claw, Icicle Spear, and Outrage, run over this whole team, other than Buzzhole. But other than that, we smack everything. The Blissey is like an easy Curum answer. So by bringing the physical variant, there's not as much of an answer anymore, and we just need to get a bit of chip on Buzzhole, and we beat it. So that was the answer there. We brought Mega Glade with Close Combat, Ice Punch, Zen Headbutt, and Aura Sphere. Why we brought Aura Sphere is so that we can actually just damage the SQ, because he'll go for Hail, get his immunity back, because if you hit SQ while he's got his Ice Block with a physical move, he doesn't take any damage. Whereas with Aura Sphere, we'll always be able to chip 30% off on him. So that was the answer. That was the reason behind that. We brought the Komala with a bit of Spadef to try and deal with the Spectrier. We brought the Greninja, again, standard Spikes, Hydro Pump, U-Turn, Dark Pulse, Revenge Kill. Bronzong, Fizdef for the Gliscor, for the Jirachi, for the Buzzhole. And then we brought Azuma with the Assault Vest to kind of help deal with a special Jirachi and Blastoise. So that was the team. Makes kind of sense there on paper. Gliscor Poison Heal, possibly gotta hit that to the bone. The Gliscor can have so many different variants. That's a real scary thing. So we gotta scout that out, but it's probably going to have Poison Heal, but it could be SD with Rock Polish. So there's a couple of different variants we gotta watch out for. So it is scary. I do agree, it's gonna take some issue. So anyways, we'll see what happens. So he brings in the Pinchurin. The Pinchurin came in, I was a little bit like, okay, Pinchurin, interesting. As he just goes for the spikes, and we do kind of pivot around. Brings in Blastoise. Now this can't Shell Smash, so it's good to know, but he's probably going to go for the Rapid Spin. I'm in my Mega Glade knowing that, okay, I want to force you out. As he brings in the SQ, and I go for the CC. Now, I'm okay with this. And here's where you see the immunity happen. I'm okay with this, because I can go for this again. But, what I keep forgetting, and what everyone else doesn't forget, is that when he doesn't have his head, he becomes this really fast Pokemon. So he can just get his hail up all the time then. And when he gets hail up, I get chip and what have you. So, like a fool, I forgot. And I just go for the Zen Headbutt, thinking he was just going to pivot around. And I was like, right, this obviously is not going to work. So we're going to have to do something here. I do flinch with the Zen Headbutt, which is great. But we're going to have to do something here. As he goes for the Veil. And I go for the Aura Sphere. And really, what happened there for those first few turns, was that I just did not know how to deal with this SQ, even though I kind of was told I was kind of told about it, but I didn't know enough about it to really be able to deal with it. And all of a sudden, turn 7, I'm dealing with an Aurora Veil, and I lost 30% on my Mega Glade. So major problems here. Not a big fan. I'll bring my Bronzong anyways, as I know this Pinchurin's after coming in. Sorry, I made a switch. I go for my Step Rocks, he gets the spikes off. And I then decide to bring in my Curum. Thinking I'm going to have to kind of force an issue here a little bit. He brings in his Jirachi behind the Aurora Veil. And if I'm being honest, had I maybe waited one more turn for this, we might be in a better position. But it is what it is. And the reason why is because if he's not behind the Veil, we beat him there. And I'm +2/+2 with this thing broken. Sorry, I'm +2/+2 with this SQ broken. I beat this thing. This thing is dead. I get 24% off this guy when he comes in, and I get 24% off this guy when he comes in, and I outspeed. So, a bit unfortunate. Now I went for it. And the reason why I went for it is because Shadow Claw has a high crit rate. So I figured if I get the crit, I've won this game. That's how I thought. Right, I won this game because I got the crit. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. So it is what it is. He brings in the Blastoise, and then he goes to EQ, and he does manage to get his Rapid Spin off here, which is really unfortunate. So I'm now dealing with all the hazards on my side of the field, and he goes for the Scald. I was just a little bit too premature, just going off, trying to get my setup off, and I'm burnt here, so I ain't breaking this thing anytime soon. I do go for the Play Rough on the Jirachi, But kind of the damage is kind of done here. The Jirachi goes to the T-Bolt as I go for the knockoff. Really surprised we didn't kill it. We didn't like kill each other there, but either one of us. But I do manage to pick the Jirachi off as I go down to the burn from Blastoise. And in comes the Pinchurny again. This Pinchurny being a real problem here for us, but not much we can do about it. He brings in his SQ again as I go for the knockoff and break through this guy's light clay. That guy's been a real issue for me. Goes for the head smash. We do manage to live it, which is great. But problem is, I kind of need this thing a little bit healthy to deal with his Spectrier. So I'm going to be looking at trying to recover a little bit. I'll bring a bronze on as he goes for the Aura Sphere. Luckily, we have Levitate this week, so I do eat most of his hits. He goes for Dark Pulse though, as I go for the Psychic. I almost pick off this Blastoise, but I just don't. And that's really unfortunate. I do kind of survive, and he goes for Rapid Spin there. And this is another case of take your kill. You know, we've been over this before. I ain't going to stay around here talking about it anymore. But should have taken his kill. He knows he beats me with the Dark Pulse. Should have gone for it again. But he doesn't. I go for the Psychic. Knock out the Blastoise. He was maybe predicting me to go into Greninja, but I'm not dealing with that noise because I need to just get Chip off on this team. So we're even though it's gone badly here so far, it could have been worse. I ran my Greninja, and what's really happened here is he got to +2, and his Grimknight got to +1 because he picked up my Bronzong, and I should not have that was a major problem there. You're probably thinking maybe a couple of turns ago once the Spectre came in, oh, he's fine. I probably should have gone straight into Komala or into Greninja and really pressed home and really put pressure on him. But because he's got the hazards up now, I'm under major pressure. He just picks me off for the Dark Pulse there. He's out at +5 or +4. I can't quite recall. He goes for the Shadow Ball. He knocks me out because he's faster. And that's GG's. Emil, there we go, that's his name. God, thank God. But really, if I was a little bit more careful around the SQ and I was a bit smarter about how I set up my Kyurem, we would have won this game. So plenty of good, plenty of bad here, really. Damn it, man, it looks so good. Look, it looked good, but there was definitely mistakes. If I was a little bit careful with how I went at how I went with Kyurem, it would have been better. Probably jumped the trigger on that a little bit too soon. And if I was a little bit smarter with SQ at the start, I wouldn't have probably felt the pressure to have gone for Kyurem as early as I did. But look, it is unfortunate. But it is what it is. We can't really do too much else other than what we did. Right. Actually, you need to come back over this one, and I need to switch up to the next matchup. So on that one, we're 1-5. We have a few weeks left. We're still okay. We still actually can make playoffs here at this point, right? But I have to kind of win out. Because like the way I was working out was if I got 4 wins and plus my diff was actually still very, very good. But if I got 4 wins, I still might make playoffs. So I'm like, okay, we're still in this. Believe it or not, we're still in this. I just need 4 wins. I need 3 wins on my last 3 games. So like, it's looking good here. Do you know? Like we have a chance here to do something. So I'm like, okay, we can't get too bogged down here. We're just gonna be like, right, we gotta go for these last 2 wins and see what we get. Now, unfortunately, as you're gonna see on the matchup, this is not gonna be that easy. You're gonna see that we have to deal with a Mega Latios. We have to deal with a Melmetal. We have to deal. Sorry, I'm just going to switch over. I'm just making sure everything's right on the background for when we go to deal with this. We have to deal with Mega Latios. We have to deal with a Melmetal. Milotic as well is incredibly bulky. We have a Lando Eye, which is problematic with Chestnut, so we have to kill our Chala mascot. There's problems here. There's genuine problems that like really smack my team. Like, you know, the Mega Latios is a major threat, and the fact that he's paired it with Melmetal, you know, scary. So there's a lot that we had to kind of worry about here. Lots of major threats here, and I do feel like Lando Eye is one of those Pokemon that doesn't get appreciated enough. Because it's like all the coverage that Lando T gets. So I'm like, it's a problem. Roughly to break down, as you see on the screen, the matchup, what we bought was an SD Mega Glade. We bought a Leftovers Azumarill with a lot of speed depth, a little bit of Fizz depth, and a little bit of attack. That was to kind of deal with the melodic a little bit, so that we can intoxicate and slowly wear it down, and help us deal with overheat. We have a bulky offensive Nidoqueen, so that should hopefully do wonders with the T-Spikes, because there's a lot of Pokemon here that we can kind of maybe get T-Spikes off. We brought a Fizdef Moltres with the Charty Berry. The reason why we brought that is to try and hopefully kind of deal with the Melmetal a little bit, and hopefully deal with a Chestnut and a Stone Edge from the Lando Eye. We're bringing a Choice Scarf Kyurem to maybe outspeed the Mega Latios and Lando Eye and a couple of others. And then the Greninja, again, is just there as a revenge killer, because we can revenge kill the Latios, we can revenge kill the Rotom Heat, we can revenge kill the what's it called, a couple of other the Lando Eye, a couple of others. So bits and pieces, if you know what I mean. Just Porygon. I would have expected Porygon 2 at least. It's cheap, man. It's like 2 points. This Porygon. It's like 2 points, and it's Trick Room. It's Trick Room from Melmetal primarily. That's why that would have been drafted. So you kind of come in, you can Trick Room and let Melmetal run havoc there a little bit, because it can Trick Room teleport. So it's a nice cheap option that gives you a little bit of tech that you're probably not thinking that you get. Right, okay, so here's what we're dealing with. We got Melmetal, we got Mega Latios, we got the Porygon, we got the Milotic, we got the Rotom Heat, and we got the Lando Eye. So we are dealing with the threats here. Okay, I accept that reason. Yeah, look, like that's the main reason, right? You know, you bring the Trick Room so Melmetal can cause havoc, and especially against a team like mine, can do a little bit of damage. So we see the Porygon, which is very unfortunate. Now we do break through the Porygon really well with my team, but that doesn't mean he doesn't get a Trick Room off and then Melmetal can just smack us. So you know, something we gotta worry about that. And the Mega Latios is a major issue, but you know, we're hopeful going into this, right? We know that there's threats, but we can maybe deal with this. So let's kind of dive in and see what happens. He starts off with the Lando. I'm really happy with this because I got my Greninja, and I'm just going to set up my Spike, and I'm just going to turn about. I'm like happy enough. Like for me, those 2 turns, brilliant. He brings in, he goes for Toxicon as Milotic. He brings in his Rotom Heat on the Azuma, which is a wild one for me. Don't quite get that play, but it is what it is. He goes for Defog just to get rid of his Spikes as I bring in my Nidoqueen. He then brings in his Milotic again as I just set up my Stealth Rocks. So I'm like, dude, that's fine. I'm staying in here. I do decide to stay in here with my Nidoqueen because I kind of want to see what damage I can do there. Now, it wasn't the best decision, but I wanted to see what we're dealing with, because I was thinking he might switch out again as he brings in the Porygon. Now, I brought my Milotic there, my Greninja, just so I can U-turn route on the Milotic and bring in something else. And it actually has managed to work out really, really nicely, because we brought in our Mega Glade and we managed to CC the Rotom Heat into oblivion. Stall, Milotic, Bulky Water, Nightmare. Oh yeah, not ideal, but we did manage to actually foresee what he was doing there and pivot around to get ourselves our first kill. So really happy with that. He brings in his Lando Eye and he immediately goes for U-turn. Now at that point there, I know, okay, this Lando Eye, because I was thinking I outspeed, I Ice Punch here. This Lando Eye goes down. I'm loving life. But when I see that U-turn, I'm like, okay, Choice Scarf, that's fine. Because he might have been thinking, based on the other games I've had, that I'm not going to have Ice Punch, but no. Bought it. He revealed his tech there. I'm like, okay, he's Choice Scarf. Keep that in the back of mind that I'm not going to be able to outrun this thing all the time here. Especially with my Greninja. So I'm just going to hard switch out into my Moltres, knowing that he can outspeed me with U-turn. And that's exactly what he does. And he brings in his Latios. This thing is very, very scary. He does go for the Mega Evolve. He does go for the Draco Meteor. Very, very scary. I was U-turn knowing that I didn't really have many Pokemon that can take that. Because if he went for the Psychic or set up with it, I couldn't really afford to let him to set up. And he actually decided to do something really weird, mad there, which is really crazy. When we U-turned out, we brought in our Greninja, and rather than switching out into, say, Milotic, he switched out into his Lando. And I was like, that's crazy. But we went for the Dark Pulse. The crit obviously mattered, but the thing that he brought Lando in there to take that hit, mad, knowing that Milotic is there and can recover that off. So interesting that he went for that play, but it is what it is. Now he does bring the Porygon, and this is where we can kind of see what he wants to do. He has decided that he wants to go for a Trick Room. So I bring in my Azumarill, and I am just going to try and get damage off. He goes for the Teleport, and he brings in his Melmetal. So I'm like, this is not great, but we're going to do something here. Now, 3 turns left, I just go for Protect. Even though I'm toxic, I'm like, look, I want to slow this Trick Room down as much as I can. I switch out to Moltres here. Now, I'm going to talk through my mindset here at this point, because I actually do remember what I did here. I knew, right, with 2 turns to go, that, right, I know that I need a certain amount of damage off on Melmetal, right, for my Mega Gallade to one-shot, right, and for my Nidoqueen to one-shot. I know I need to get a certain amount of damage off, right, and I knew that a Azumarill can get me that damage with Liquidation. But the problem was that it's not going to get that damage off on the Trick Room, but I will get it off once I get out of Trick Room. So I was like, right, I have to switch in, I have to sack something, bring the Azumarill, Protect, Liquidation, and then at that point then I know Melmetal can be one-shotted at any point for the rest of the game. And I was also happy knowing that Porygon has to come in cleanly to get Trick Room off. And it won't be able to get Trick Room off against the rest of my team because I have the rest of my team outspeed the Porygon. So it's going to come in, it's going to take rock damage, and it's going to have to take a hit. So I was like, so long as we attack the Porygon, it will never get Trick Room back up again. And so long as I can get a little bit touch damage on the Melmetal, I want to shot it with the rest of my team. So that was kind of what was going through my head there. That was the pieces of information I had knowing about these 2 Pokemon. So I realized, let's sack Moltres here, because I don't need Moltres anymore. At this point in the game. So sack the Moltres and bring the Azumarill in, get the damage off. Now, a couple of issues here is that we do still have the Latios, but the Latios we do revenge kill with the Greninja, and I have nothing else that outspeeds my Mega Gallade. So we're in a really good position here, knowing that that's what we need to do. So we bring the Azumarill, and as we just talked about, I go for the Protect, double Iron Bash, don't care. We are then going to go for Liquidation. The crit did not matter there, but really happy we got it, because it does make my life a little bit easier. I'll bring the Mega Gallade, and I'm happy enough for what's going to happen. He goes for he's just going to get absolutely obliterated. Porygon goes down. I'm happy out. I was like, don't care. He's never going to get Trick Room for the rest of this game. So I'm like, sound. I am going to preserve the Mega Gallade because it actually helps me beat Milotic. So I'm like, that's fine. Bring my Greninja instead. Dark Pulse. This Latios is gone. Get out of here. In comes this Melmetal. And I'm like, okay, I just need to kind of hopefully break you. Now he does Hydro Pump. I do miss the Hydro Pump, which sucks because 2 Hydro Pumps kills this thing. Sorry, 1 did, but like it means that it just kind of sucks with this Milotic a little bit. But anyways, we're gonna just try and like beat this thing. I'm gonna just get Dark Pulses off on it. At this point, the game's effectively done, right? It's just a matter of us trying to break through him. I really kind of jump into fast as he goes for the Toxic, and he just looks to try and like keep his HP really high up so that he can maybe deal with the Kyurem and the Mega Gallade, knowing the damage that they're the HP they're at. But unfortunately, we're just going to SD. He's going to Scald. If he got a burn there, I might have had to SD one more time, but we were done at that point. GG's. We pick up our win. Happy out. Beautiful. So the plan really worked out well. Once we spot how we're going to beat this Melmetal, we execute it. Worked out like a charm. Cannot complain. Really worked out nicely. Really worked out. Yeah, a huge win. And knowing that we still had we had to get 2 more wins to get into playoffs. We were like, okay, we're still in this. So really positive knowing what we came up against. So really happy with that. Really happy with that. So that left us with 2 more games left, and we were kind of like, right, okay, 2 more wins, and if we can somehow win well, we're in this, which is absolutely fantastic, So we were like, okay, show me what we got here, right? So let me bring everything up here again. Perfect. That's that team there, and let me bring us back up. Let me know if I know it's probably too late, but let me know if I'm going too fast or too slow. And all that jazz. And there's a lot on. Okay, so here's what we got. Here's what we're going up against. Second last game. We're up against Zygarde, Heracross, Mega Heracross, Savali, Raikou, Galarian Weezing, Empoleon, Alola Ninetales, Jellicent, Umbreon, Appletun, and Wobbuffet. Man, I'm not used to doing all this talking anymore. Okay, so Mega Heracross is a massive threat. If anyone hasn't used it yet, like give it a go, because it's got like this monstrous attack stat. I can just absolutely lay waste to people, so it's brilliant. Zygarde, as we know, Zygarde can't do his transformation here. Like it's Zygarde 50% that has to stay that way, but we know it can do Coil, we know it can Drag It Dance, we know it has 1000 Arrows, so it's got those tools. Savali can be any type, so you know that can be a little bit annoying. We know what the Alolan Ninetales can do with setting up the Hail, setting up the Veil and allowing Mega Heracross and Zygarde to do a little bit of work. But overall, this is not like the scariest team we played against. I think we can all agree. Based on the teams we've seen, this is not the scariest team we've seen. So I'm kind of going into this thinking, we have a shot here. We can do a bit of work. So maybe this is on. What I bought a bulk up Taunt Mega Glade. The idea behind the Taunt was that we can just taunt the Zygarde and other things and make sure that we can then set up a bulk up and pick things off, which is really nice. Greninja, we're bringing Greninja. So we're lightning quick. I should actually probably pivot over to the other screen here. Let me do just that. There we go, perfect. So what did we bring then? The Greninja we mentioned. We're bringing a we're bringing somewhat mostly offensive, but we are carrying a lot of Spadef in Nidoqueen. So we're bringing that kind of set. We're bringing a Choice Scarf Moltres. We are bringing a especially offensive Gourgeist, and we're bringing a speedy bulky Azumarill as well to top that. So definitely like some interesting things here, but we brought some cool stuff. What's been really nice is like I actually have like my prep most games, so like the prep has been great, but it's just been execution has been poor. But look, it is what it is. So anyway, second last game, we need to win. We need to win both games. So we'll see what happens. Let's jump in. He leaves with Raikou at the start, and we leave with Moltres. So I'm like not having this. I'm just immediately pivoting out as he goes for Scald. That's a great read. Now I have built Nidoqueen with the Spadef to ensure that we eat that Scald, and that can never to a KO. So really happy that we can then go for the Stealth Rock because he has to pivot out with that Raikou, and we got our rocks off. He immediately goes for the substitute with the Mega Heracross and goes for Rock Blast. Now this was a major problem. Heracross was able to kind of break through pretty much most of my team, doing stuff like that. So the Gourgeist was essentially built to try and deal with this, as you're seeing what we're going to try and do. Hopefully I do think we live this, and I do think I get another Moonblast off, and we do get the crit, break it down to 62%, but it's not going to be enough, unfortunately, as it does kind of pick me off with the Bullet Seed. But we managed to get like, a huge chunk off in a Heracross, so I'm like, this is fantastic. We pick it off with the Air Slash. Beautiful. In comes the Empoleon now to be able to kind of like tank this Moltres a little bit, so I'm just going to bring my Mega Glade, and he goes for the Hydro Pump. That was something I did not think he was going to do. I thought he was never going to go really hard in with that with the Hydro Pump, but he did. I go for the Drain Punch, and that does give me a lot of HP back, but unfortunately, had I got close combat, that Ninetales is dead. But unfortunately, I did not bring that. So, really unfortunate, but it is what it is. I then bring in the Moltres, and I just pick off the Ninetales. He now knows I'm scarfed, Damn sad to read your stream trial. DJ, thank you so much for coming to the stream, man. I know it, but look, it is what it is. Life has to move on, man. Which is unfortunate. Okay, so we're in here, and I've chanced the Fire Blast here on the Raikou. I didn't know what this Raikou was, but I knew I needed to kind of get damage off on it. So, we go in for the Fire Blast. I did outspeed, and we lived the Scald. And I know if I land another Fire Blast, this Raikou's dead. Because I didn't want. The reason why I chanced it was because if I go into Scald again, we need a Queen. And if he reads that, which he did go for, that means that I'm done, right? Like the Nidoqueen is not going to live another 2 Scalds because after I take him 1. So I knew I had to go for the Fire Blast there. It sucked, but we had no other real choice. So he realizes that Raikou is a big proponent of his win con, so he's going to pivot around, and I am going to hopefully pick off the Squeezing, but he brings a Cut Snap Berry, which is great tech. But unfortunately, doesn't work out, and we do lose our Moltres. Now, we do bring in a Nidoqueen. He brings in the Empoleon. I'm a little bit worried about this, because I'm like, I've got some PTSD about how I'm going to deal with this Empoleon. But we're in a great spot here. I said Mega Glade, I got Greninja. So we're really happy with how we're shaping up. So love and life. But Savali's still lurking in the back. We haven't seen Savali yet. I go for the knockoff and he goes for the flash cannon. I went for knockoff first, and then he tries to set up. I went for a superpower. Why did I do that? Was because superpower did not want to KO this Empoleon at that point. Knock off first, get the chip, then superpower, knock it out. Simple as that. Because if I go for superpower, the minus attack doesn't really help, and the minus defense. No point putting us in that position. We then see that Savali goes for the multi-attack, and we're in a bit of a bind here. This thing is Choice Scarf, because he decided to go for a normal Savali, and I am in major problem. Because I'm like, he's going to outspeed my whole team here, and he is going to go for a multi-attack, but I do not have Hydro Pump. Because I could not fit it on the moveset this week, and he wins. And I had him beat otherwise. But that was literally, he brought Choice Scarf Savali, he kept in the back, he waited, and he pounced and he beat me. And it was really unfortunate. If we kept the Gourgeist alive, maybe, like, it was really hard. It was just that he managed to bring that prep ideally perfect, like, you know. I had nothing for it, because I just had absolutely nothing for it. I was just broken down way too much, and I was there thinking we definitely should be able to break through the Savali, but when he's outspeeding us, we're in major trouble. There was nothing we can do. So really unfortunate. We were in a really good spot, so there's just not more we can do. So unlucky, unfortunate for us, but there's not more we can do other than kind of lick our wounds here. We needed this win, and this kind of essentially knocks us out of playoffs. So we now know, like, right, we're out. We're 2-6, and we go into our last game kind of knowing that it's going to be the last game no matter what. Like, you know, there's going to be no playoff run. There's going to be no nothing. Like, this is our last game. This is probably the one loss I have where I can kind of put my hand up and say, look, I think we did a clean enough game. We didn't make any mistakes. He just brought really good prep, and it wasn't until maybe too late in the game when we were kind of dealing with the Empoleon at the end that I realised the Savali hasn't touched the field yet. This is a problem. It could be anything, and it's a little bit unfortunate. So I can put my hand up and say, look, he brought better prep, whereas the other losses, you could, like, as we've looked back on, they've all happened because of a key mistake I've made. So it really does suck. But this is probably the one loss on my record where I can literally tell Eflon, like, look, dude, like, no man, you bet me, like you made you just brought better prep. Everyone else though, I'm like, dude, I threw it away because I made a mistake. And the mistake either, directly led to my loss. So really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. But that means we do kind of go into our last battle, knowing that it's kind of mainly just to kind of send us off on a high. This is a little bit unfortunate. It would have been nice if we got a playoff run, but it is what it is. So with that being said, let me bring up the matchup, and we will kind of talk through this a little bit more and see what the story is. Last battle with no regrets. Yeah, exactly, man. We just got, like, we go into this, like, give it our all, make sure that no stones, that kind of thing, Okay, so up against the Unicep, the uninspired at Apoms is the name of the team. Let me just punch in. I just want to make sure I have everything ready in the background for how we're going to be looking at this. Perfect. So the team here, we're up against Latios. This is like the prep, like the matchup screen. Latios, Zero Aura, the Galarian Zapdos, Mamoswine, Megaggron, Arcanine, Zarude, Granbull, Wishiwashi, Machoke, and Oranguru. This was why we drafted Emolga, was the Galarian Zapdos. The Galarian Zapdos smacks this, and this. So let's count out 1, 2, damn it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 11 Pokemon. So this is why we drafted the Emolga, because the Emolga shuts down Galarian Zapdos immediately. So you know, if you're thinking the Galarian Zapdos has a fun time here, it absolutely does, but it has to get past the Emolga. Zeraora, we've used that so many times, it's been insane. So we know what this thing can do, but we do need a Queen that can sit on it. Latios is very, very scary. Major offensive presence, so we have to watch out for that. Mamoswine, incredibly scary. Breaks through hell of a lot of Pokemon, so gotta watch out for that. Mega Aggron forces us to make sure that we do bring Nidoqueen, Megalade, and Moltres, 2 of those 3 Pokemon, to make sure that we break it. The Zarude is able to pivot around quite well against our water offense, which is a little bit annoying, but at least, you know, it's not free against on the Azumarill, which is good. And then we kind of know the Wishy-Washy. We've used that before. Oranguru is a Pokemon, if you're kind of looking for a bulkier, low-tier mon that can kind of check a couple of offensive things, like, say, an Infernape or something like that. Oranguru is a Pokemon to definitely look at. So I definitely could respect the Oranguru pick. With that, let's just quick here to what we're up against. I will quickly run down what we bought, so you guys can see, you guys can get a sense of what we have. We bought the SD Megalade with Shadow Sneak to pick off the Latios. We bought the Emolga Fully Fizz Death U-Turn Air Slash Rooster knockoff for the Galarian Zapdos. We bought a offensive Nidoqueen because I was like, screw it, I want to bring it because it's just good fun. We did bring Dragon Tail and T-Spikes this week, and Dual Stab. Bronzong, Fully Fizz Death, that's for the Granbull and for the Mega Aggron, which is really, really good. The Azumarill, we brought an Assault Vest variant in order to help us deal with the Mega Latios. And then the Moltres, we brought a Choice Scarf variant in order to be able to outrun a couple of these mons and be able to pick them off. That's what we're doing. Last game. Okay, time to own these noobs. I like it. I like it. Okay, so throw it off. See what happens. So he leads with the Mega Aggron. Now that's something he has to kind of do in order to get his, like, the Steel typing and his better defensive stats. So fair enough. Can't play him. It brings Wishy-Washy. It does go into Scooting because he's got all the HP. I bring in my Azumarill and he does switch out into his Aggron again. I went for the Play Rough. I wasn't brave enough to go for Liquidation there, but I should have, because I would have gotten massive damage off in the Aggron if I did. But he does get his Mega Evolution off and his Rocks, so he's a happy boy there. You know, can't blame him. I do elect to kind of stay in and just go for this, just get rid of this Mega Aggron and break it. Now, slight mistake there, I won't lie, because this is the Zeraora answer. I should have just got down to Bronzong or Moltres, but I didn't want to when the rocks are up. But I should have just been braver and be like, you know, let's do something different. But I wanted to break the Aggron. I really wanted to break the Aggron, so we did. Joe here being there's no noobs in this tournament. Exactly, man. Like, these are all like unbelievably skilled players. So he brings in the Granbull who takes the T-Spikes. Really smart. Gets the Intimidate off before Mega Evolve. I pivot out immediately and bring in my Bronzong. To deal with this, he goes for the Super Fang, which always takes half of my HP, so I was like, that's fine. He brings in the Galarian Zapdos now, and as I get my Step Rock, so really happy with this. Really happy with this. I'm going to go for the Protect because I want to see what this thing wants to do. Goes for the Throat Chop. I'm like, alright, okay. We can deal with that. I'm in my Emolga here, and he goes for his Throat Chop, and that takes 29%. I'm like, dude, I can eat that. He's going to go into his Latios as I go for my Roots because I need this thing at full HP to be able to deal with the Zapdos, and we pivot around into our Latios that is built to deal with this Mega Latios. Oh, sorry, just regular Latios. So what Azumarill's here, sorry, tongue-tied. We do kind of pivot around a little bit. I do get my Play Rough off as the T-Spikes eventually wear down the Granbull. Delighted, Nidoqueen got the kill. In comes the Zeraora, and this is where we have a big issue because I have nothing that wants to sit in on this thing anymore. But Bronzong can kind of come in now, knowing that we have the Granbull bet. So we can kind of come in and just kind of, you know, stall out the Zeraora a little bit with the T-Spikes. So I was like, this is fine. And we get damage off. So I was like, look, it sucks, but it is what it is. I bring the Moltres because I know I can outspeed, and I pick it off with the Flamethrower. Bit of a mistake there by him. He has Wishy-Washy, but he elected not to bring the Wishy-Washy in. I don't get why he doesn't do that. Should have just gone, he should have pivoted out, knowing that why would I bring Moltres in on rocks with a Choice Scarf. But he decided it wasn't worth it anymore. But for me, it's worth loads because it outruns my whole team. And I got Azumarill and Moltres that's weak to it. Now, at the same time, he's probably thinking, you know, I'm going to just if he stays in and picks me off, if he stays in and I bluff it, I'm just going to bring in a Azumarill and pick him off anyways with the Aqua Jet. So, you know, I won't be too harsh on it, but the wishy-washy swap was there. I'm just going to go for the Flamethrower here. Now, the reason why I'm doing it is because I just want to make sure that I get damage off on his Latios, because it makes it easier for my Mega Late to pick it off with the Shadow Sneak. So I'm like, I'm cool with this. Even if he goes for Roost here, I'm like, dude, you know, you're not going to do enough here to... I'm going to be always get a little bit to be able to wear you down. But we do manage to pick it off, so I'm like delighted. This has worked a treat because Mega Late, I don't have to worry about Mega Late doing it. Now, he does bring in the Wishy-Washy, and I do have Poison there. Now, I went for the U-turn because I just don't want to get Toxic or anything, and that's exactly what happens. So I'm like, I'm happy enough here. We've gone for that. The burn was huge on Latios, so I do agree, Master J. It does help out. It made sure that he couldn't really, if he had Roost, actually stall us out. So I was really happy with that. He does have this Rest Talk Sleep, this Rest Sleep Talk set, which I'm all for. I do love that set, so I'm like, I'm all for it. But I do see that the Zapdos is in here, and at this point I'm kind of like, I'm okay with just coming in here and wearing this thing down. Now the reason why it was that is because this I did that because it gives me this Emolga for free. What that gives me is that I can get in Emolga, and what's going to happen here is that I'm either going to get hit on the Zapdos, or what's going to happen, right? What my thought process there was, let the Azumarill go down. This Mega Aggron's dead anyways, right? Doesn't matter when it comes in, it's dead, right? It'll go down to 1%. I pick it off with any hit, it's dead. This Wishy-Washy, even though I don't have Electric Stab, you know, can only really hit me with Flip Turn, and I can roost that off, right? Okay, don't really get why I take recoil damage, but I won't complain. Or with Brave Bird, because I have the Azumarill. If he goes for his other stat move, which is the high jump kick, he might not kill me. That's the reason. And then if I go for Pay Rough, he's dead. And then lastly, with the Zapdos, I'm always going to be able to beat the Zapdos. So I'm happy enough because he's not choice banned. I don't think so. I'm like happy enough. We're just going to come in. I go for knockoff because I want to get damage off immediately. I want to get rid of whatever item is coming in. So the Wishy-Washy comes back in, and I'm like, okay, I'm happy enough. Let's just get rid of this guy's lefties. So he's going to be forced into go for sleep again. He does pivot around, goes back into the Zapdos. I'm like, I'm happy enough here. I'm just gonna see what he does. He goes for the U-turn, back into Wishy-Washy again. I'm going to roost up, and all of a sudden you're just seeing Emolga just kind of sitting here, and there's not much he can do. I air slash him. Down goes the Wishy-Washy. In comes the Zapdos. Takes a little bit more damage. No matter what he does here, like Brave Bird, 34%, does nothing. We do get the Parrot. It's like I was waiting for that. And air slash again. And Emolga literally sits there, picks up 3 kills. GG's. GG's. So we managed to win our last battle ever, which is nice. It's nice to kind of go out with a win. Which is pretty sick. The Emolga kind of coming in and just doing the work was ridiculous. But it was just, you know, it was literally brought for the Galarian Zapdos. Like, that was the reason why I was drafted. But GG's. Thank you so much, Master J. But that was it. And that was our run. Unfortunately, we finished 3-6. How did our division finish out? Let me see. I have to kind of somehow try and get to a point where this looks somewhat respectable on the screen. Let's come back. Oh, you can actually see this way better. Okay, it actually worked out naturally perfectly. As you can see, 5 and 4 ended up being what was needed. So at the time when we were kind of leading in a couple of weeks beforehand, it looked like 4 wins was going to do it, but it actually turned out you needed 5. It was going to be 5. So we ended up 3-6. At least we finished 12th out of 18. So not dead last. You know, it was somewhat respectable. Had we managed to just maybe get 2 more wins, it's like we're probably up here. And as we talked about, 5 out of our 6 wins, 5 out of our 6 losses came from direct mistakes that we made. Whereas 1 loss was definitely something we were like better prep on the day. He bet us fair, like, you know, what if we didn't do anything foolish. So we finish here, crash out. There was definitely far worse teams than us. So we're definitely not one of the worst teams like there. Like, look at this, like the 0-9. That's not great. And there was a plethora of 3-6 teams. they were all below us. And given the start we had, like you look at all these like 3 and 6 teams, like given the start we had, like we were definitely on course. So we didn't do too bad. Top 4 not bad, a little bit, but you would have been continuing, but good in my books. Yeah, look, I obviously would have preferred finishing a lot better. But but knowing that 5 of those 6 losses was my own fault, a bit of a sting. We could have easily gotten a better record. Like for me, we definitely left 3 wins behind us at minimum. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's it, guys. I'm afraid we're going to wrap it up there. I'll have this up on YouTube, so everyone can see what happens, because I have the draft recap like a couple of months ago now. So it's probably about time that I stick this up, and everyone can kind of see the recap as to what happened, and they can watch it on YouTube, and they can have like the comments and whatever. And yeah, I think that's it. I want to obviously thank everybody for like watching me all these years. I know I kind of went into a little bit of retirement, and then I came back when I heard about the Draft League World Cup. And look, literally again, the reason why I'm going back into retirement is pretty much living with my partner now. Don't really have that much time. She was very good in allowing me to like go at try this for a year, knowing that I had consumed a lot, knowing that I put a lot of time into playing this for a few years while we were living away from each other. So really, really nice that she did actually support me and saying like, no, go for this. I know like this is something that you really want to go do, so give it your best shot. And thankfully we did manage it, like we did get into the World Cup. It's just unfortunate that the summer that we were playing this was just not a really good time at all for me, so it is unfortunate. But I do want to kind of obviously give her a shout out, and I want to obviously thank you guys for watching and watching me all this time and supporting me and like enjoying the content. I've always said if one person did get some sort of enjoyment out of the videos and the streams that I did, then it was all kind of worth it. So because it definitely helped me through some stuff in the evening time when I'd be sitting around doing nothing. But life changes, life moves on. As Master says, thank you so much. Thank you for everything you've done for YT. I see you on the other side, but yeah, I know exactly. You too, but and thank you as well to everybody who's been watching. On that note, I'm going to get on up out of here. As always, thank you so much for watching.